The most frustrating part of nutrition is either you don't know what to eat or you know what to eat. It's just not readily available. So you just default to what's around you. This is why we go through the process of nutritional forecasting with all of our clients. And it's helped them feel less confused, less frustrated about their nutrition. It's helped them lose 100+ pounds, gain 20 pounds of muscle, and just feel more confident around food and everything that comes with it. Nutritional forecasting is an extremely simple process that helps create a visual that will help you hit your calorie goals, your macro goals each and every week with whatever schedule you may have. The reason we came up with this is that we noticed a lot of personal trainers, a lot of dietitians will give you a meal plan that's centered around the calorie goals, the macro goals that you need to hit to be successful. And we do that too because it is useful. However, whenever I look at a meal plan, it doesn't show Papa John's on a Friday night. It doesn't show when your kid has a soccer game, you want to celebrate afterwards. The meal plan doesn't allow for that, which then leads to you screwing up that calorie deficit you're trying to hit. Why not use the meal plan as a creative outlet to help reinforce the meal plan that's actually going to help you be successful? And that's what nutritional forecasting does. We do this with all of our clients. We have a 1 hour onboarding where we just talk through what are the limitations you may have in the kitchen in terms of maybe skill set or time to prepare foods. What are the limitations you may have in terms of time to eat the food? Sometimes it needs to be on the go. Sometimes you can sit back and savor those meals. Let's talk through that. What does the typical week look like? Do you have days where there's back to back meetings? You have certain days where you know you want to celebrate a little bit more, like on the weekend. How can we create this routine and a nutrition that helps support that routine while also supporting your goals? We know this works and we've seen it work with every single one of our clients. And this is what I'm going to show you today to help you reach your goals. The first thing we have to do is figure out what are our calories, macro goals. What are the targets we're trying to see? We use the same process with every single client because in the end, the calories, the macro goals are just really numbers that influence the success that you want to see. If we're not seeing success, we need to start changing some of those numbers. So we can get a calorie count, and this is what we're going to do here in a minute. We can get a certain calorie amount, but if it doesn't result in the numbers that we're looking for in terms of, let's say, weight gain or weight loss, then it's not the right number. So we just need to have a starting place and then see what the data says in terms of where that weight is trending and let that influence where we go with our weight. So the first thing I always do, I go to TDE calculator, just Google one. I always go to this tdecalculator.net. And I'll put in my own information in here. I'm not 402 years old. I'm 42 years old. I weighed myself this morning, 192, 6'2". And so when it comes to activity, unless you are doing a lot of manual labor, I highly recommend you just put in sedentary or office job. Most of the people have something where maybe they're standing for a little while or they're sitting for a long period of time. Unless you're on your feet for 6, 7 hours a day, just put sedentary. Like I said, this is just a starting place and we're letting this influence where we need to go because taking that scientific approach to let the data influence how we need to adjust the inputs, that's really what we believe is what helps people be successful. So I always put sedentary. Body fat, I never even worry about body fat because it doesn't really influence it that much. So when I look at the calories per day, we see a lot of numbers here. So my main goal is to average using a 7-day average around 2,200 calories a day. And that's if I did not do any exercise. And that's really the target that I want to put into MyFitnessPal, which is what we'll get into shortly. We have our basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories my body burns if I woke up and I never left bed, never did anything. And then the end of the day came, I went back to sleep. I'm still burning 1,841 calories every single day. Just my body existing as a human. And so if I got up, moved around, ate things, that type of life, not even exercise, I'm going to burn 2,200 calories. So when we think about exercise as being the best tool to help speed up fat loss, most of the calories that you burn is just by existing as a human. So it's going to be 60, 70% of your calorie burn is going to be pretty much just existing as a person in this planet. So 2209 is really the calories that I'm going to target. I'm going to go from here and then just go to my fitness cloud. So I have 2209. That is going to be my goal. So I'm going to go log into my account and I have, let's see, 2204, and I am going to change that to be 2209. So when it comes to calories, fats, and protein, all of our clients, we only care about calories, protein, and fiber for the first 2 to 3 months at a minimum. Sometimes that is the only thing we target for the whole journey. And there's a lot of studies which show that this is really all you need to focus on to be successful is calories, protein, and fiber. If you're hitting those, you're probably doing the right thing. When it comes to calories, we've talked about the calories will really influence whether your weight goes up or down. So we're going to start with 2200. We'll see what happens with my weight, and we'll allow that to fluctuate up and down as needed. Protein, we usually target around 0.8 grams of protein for every pound of the ideal body weight that you want to have with your healthy, fit self. So I usually just say 30% is usually a good target. 99% of the time, it's right in that 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And then for carbohydrates and fats, it doesn't really matter. If you like a lot of carbohydrates, put 40, 50%, and you don't want a lot of fats, put 20%. I like to keep things very kind of average, where carbohydrates tend to be a little bit higher. I like more carbohydrates, so I put 40%, fats 30%, proteins 30%. That works for me. But as long as you're at, let's say you're 0.8 per protein, you're hitting those fiber goals and you're hitting your calorie goals, everything else just doesn't matter. People have seen success going high carb. People have seen success going high fat, as long as it's calorie, protein, and fiber. Same changes. All right. So I have my goals. Now it's going to come to let's create a day of eating. What I want you to think about is what is the average Monday through Friday day like? For me, a average Monday day is going to be a couple meetings during the day. I like to have a snack after my workout at 6. And then I'm having, really it's breakfast, because then I'm having a snack or a breakfast afterwards, lunch, and then a dinner. What I don't want you to think about yet is the rare occurrence where I have meetings all day, or I want to eat out because it's Friday. We do pizzas on Friday. Let's create the most probable day first. And then what we will end up doing is creating different versions of this ideal day of eating for other scenarios. But in saying that, I want you to think about what are the days where, like a Friday, and this is an example that we use often because we like pizza on Fridays. I know on Fridays, I'm going to eat more from a calorie standpoint than I would on a normal day because of that pizza. So if my calorie goal is 2209, I may hit 2700 on Friday. If I'm hitting 2700 on Friday, I may need to be at 2100 Monday, Tuesday, Thursday to give me a little bit of a buffer room to make sure that I can hit my 27 on Friday to have that 7-day running average of 2210. Does that make sense? So what we want to do is, how can I create a running 7-day average that hits 2209, proteins at 166, that I have a fiber goal there of 38. The fiber goals really should be around 12 to 15 grams of fiber for every 1,000 calories. So success for me could be anywhere from 24 to 30. So as we look at the day of eating, we'll see how that looks and see if we're in that range. So let's start creating a typical day. And what I usually recommend is write down what you're already eating. What is the typical day? For 90% of the people I talk to, they eat similar things Monday through Thursday, almost every week. It's like a rotation of 2 or 3 breakfasts, maybe 3 to 5 different lunches. Dinners are usually very varied throughout the week and the month. But when it comes to breakfast and lunch, there's usually some similarities that occur. So put that stuff in, see what is created with that ideal day of eating that you already have, and see what that looks like in terms of calories, protein, fiber, and then work from it. So what I'll do is I'll start, you're gonna see me getting my patience checked with all these ads because it's very frustrating. And by the way, I don't pay for MyFitnessPal. I don't recommend that anyone pays for MyFitnessPal. I don't think it's worth it. Um, and yeah, that's my take on it. So I'm just gonna throw some stuff in there and see what it's like. So I had in my breakfast this morning, I had 2 eggs, had a cup of egg whites, and probably half a cup or probably a third of a cup of black beans, some spinach, and some cherry tomatoes. So I meal prep that on Sunday. I just do like 2 or 3 days, but I put all that together, kind of make a scramble. That was my breakfast. So I'll add that in. 360 calories, 44 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber. So one thing that is probably going to be very helpful for you and to think about is if I'm trying to hit 160, that's my goal. Your goal is going to be different. I have to think 160. If I just try to do all that between lunch and dinner, this is why I don't love fasting because it's pretty hard to do this. But if I just eat lunch and dinner and try to hit 80 grams of protein at each, that's a lot of food. So how do I set myself up for success throughout the day? So by having 44 grams of protein right out of the gate, and then having 7 grams of fiber, I already have a great head start. So one of the other things I like to do, I talked about, I like to have some food after my workout. So what I've been doing a lot lately is just having overnight oats. So I'll do a sprouted rolled oat. There you go. We'll just do this rolled oats. I'm not going to try to, and I'll do, let's just search for it. Do it the way that we're choosing. So rolled oats, 1 cup of that, add to the diary. And then I love my Transparent Labs whey protein. I just really like Transparent Labs. It's super clean. It's in the name, trying Transparent Labs. Very transparent with their ingredients. So highly recommend. And if you want a discount, just use Pretty Healthy at check. So right now I have the sprouted rolled oats, Transparent Labs, whey protein. I'm already at 19 grams of fiber, 90 grams of protein. But my calories are 900. I only have 1,000 between lunch, which could be problematic. We'll see how this goes. But for now, everything seems to be good. Lunch. I'll usually do like a shredded chicken. And so one thing I really like to do, I'll probably have 2 ounces. That's 6 ounces of chicken. But what I love to do is we'll have an instant pot, throw in a just chicken breast in there, and then take like a Trader Joe's taco seasoning or something like that, pour the whole thing in there, let it cook for 12, 15 minutes in that high pressure. Once it cools for about 10 minutes and lets the pressure out, I take just a blender, put it in there with those, not hand, a little electronic blender, shred it all up, and it tastes amazing, just like shredded tacos. It's super simple. So that's why I have a ton. Um, all right, let's worry about dinner. Let's just leave out. So a ground beef. Let's be realistic. I'm not having 93%. or just keep it. But I'm probably having not a 93. So 4 ounces, we'll see what that looks like. So 4 ounces is only 23. If I'm trying to average around 40 grams of protein at each meal, I may need to adjust this to around, let's say 1.5 to 6 to 8 ounces for every meat. And that's usually what happens with most guys. And I always kind of use this as a palm. The palm size of my hands, that's about 6 ounces of some type of meat. If you can have that 6 to 8 ounces of any type of meat at each one, and eggs are like 3 per, so it's 6 eggs, is usually going to equate to the amount of protein that you need in each meal. So I filled up my protein. I'm actually over on protein. I still have about 700 calories, 800 calories to go for my calorie goal. From a fiber goal, I still have a little bit to go. So now I just start adding in really what I like to say my colors. So if I do romaine lettuce, and we're going to take that chicken and make a little sandwich out of it. So romaine lettuce, let's just say we're going to add in more black beans, because I mean, it's about like Mexican style. See, I'm already at my fiber. So we could just stop here for a second. Protein goal I've hit, fiber goal I've hit. So in my mind, it's, if I was doing this with a client, and usually what I try to do is I let the client fill this in. And because they're going to fill it in with meals, the ideas that they typically eat. So I let them do this part. And obviously I'm a client in this scenario, so I'm filling this. But what I would say here is I've already hit my protein goal. I've already hit my fiber goal. From a coach standpoint, I don't care how you fill the rest in. You can add more fiber. You can add more carbs. You can add chocolate, like in Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't care, because as long as we're hitting our calorie goals, protein goals, and fiber goals, this is what will make sense for you. So think of it in terms of, as long as you hit those protein and fiber, and I know we're over on protein, but there's really no downside to having more protein. So I can actually take some of the protein out. And so let's just say, instead of a full cup, we're going to do half a cup, see what that does, and see if we're still hitting a protein goal. So yeah, we've hit the protein goal. I have less eggs, which is fine. Everything else is good. So let's just say from here, I'm having, I can't even spell. We have some sweet potatoes, sure, mashed sweet potatoes. And I'm going to want some dessert. We talked about Reese's cups. Let's just throw that in there. Let's say we're adding in 2 Reese's. That's going to be mine. So a thing to keep my, like, the hankering, a little getting too overwhelming, I'm adding it in there. And I strongly recommend, this is what we do with all of our clients. I strongly recommend you do this. If there's something, man, that sweet treat that you like to have every day, put it in your nutritional forecasting, put it in your MyFitnessPal, and build around it. And that's what's usually very, very helpful for people. So like I said, I like to get my color. So let's add in a little bit more color. So this is essentially all I'm doing throughout the day. What's a protein bar? You know what? Transparent Labs has a protein bar that is absolutely delicious. 280 calories, so it's not low calories, but it's about 15 to 20 grams of protein. So, all right, so we're in a good place. So breakfast, very responsible. I have my snack after work treat, which is going to be the overnight oats in the Transparent Lab. Usually get some type of flavor, whey protein that helps kind of add some flavor to that. Lunch, chicken, kind of a chicken bowl with beans and lettuce. You can add in some peppers, some onions, all kinds of stuff like that. I usually think of it like Weight Watchers thinks of it, where most non-starchy vegetables are 0 points. They're just going to add a little bit more fiber. So feel free to add more into that lunch section. From a dinner standpoint, we have beef, mashed potatoes, some broccoli. I have a dessert of Reese's peanut butter cups. On top of, I already have a protein bar. So if you have that sweet tooth, this seems to make sense for you. And my calories are at 2037. So if I were to have this as my typical day of eating, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would then be in a calorie deficit, which is probably already lower than where my calories need to be. Come Friday, I probably have 600 calories. I can eat over that 2200 mark and feel confident that I'm doing the right thing for my. That's where we create that pretty healthy balance. So understanding that if I am a little bit under, I can be a little bit over, but being too much over is not helpful. So trying to make sure you balance all that. So this is one typical day. What we try to do is, all right, let's create another one of these. I'll take a screenshot of this. All right, let's create another one with completely different foods. Cause I know for me, I can meal prep Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Thursday, I need something different. So meal prepping 2, 3 or creating 2, 3 different ideal days of eating helps give you that idea around this is how I can be successful. And then also playing with different scenarios. Like I said, if you have meetings all day and everything needs to be almost just grabbable, what does that look like? Start playing through what this could look like for you. And this is where nutritional forecasting has helped so many people create that visual that they need and tool to help them be successful with their calories and their macro goals with the craziness of their life. Because everyone's schedule is different. You have certain demands on your time that I probably don't have on mine. And so, how do you look at your week, which is probably somewhat similar from week to week? And if it's not similar, it's similar from month to month. If you zoom out enough, there are some similarities, and it's just creating those ideal scenarios that match those that craziness of your schedule. That's what's going to help you be successful. So this is what we do with all of our clients. This is how they get successful. And this is what you can do too to make sure that you hit your calorie goal. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and yeah, see you soon.